Good morning. It's another Thursday, another three things that I'm grateful for. And this whole past week I've kind of been thinking about, marriage and relationships and things like that. And it kind of comes to a head today. Today is would have been my parents' 40th wedding anniversary. Yeah, they were married on this day 40 years ago. They were remarried a few years later on the 3 days after today. So it's one of their anniversaries, but it's the one we go with. So this is my three marriages I'm grateful for. Number one, I'm grateful for my parents' marriage. Not just because it brought me and my sisters into the world, but it showed me a relationship that worked. Yes, they got divorced. I was very young at the time, and I don't remember a whole lot during that time, but I do remember that they did get remarried. They spent a lot of time together and were very happy together, and they had their ups, they had their downs. I remember, my dad one time crying on my mother's shoulder because the job he was working had just gotten too stressful. I think about a year later, he ended up quitting that job and going back to school. I remember watching them laugh on vacations and just enjoy themselves. I saw the ups, I saw the downs, and I saw the everything in betweens. And, I'm grateful that I, got to witness that, and it started me on the path of learning how relationships work. So, number one, Mom and Dad, thank you very much. I'm grateful for you guys for loving each other. Number two, I am actually grateful for my first marriage. It was my first adult relationship, if you could call it that. I'm not going to go into the whole, I'm grateful because I brought my kids into the world. I love my sons and I'm happy they're here. But I'm not going to go into this is how I learned what not to do or any stuff like that, because there were good aspects. We were married for almost 4 years, and you don't get to that far just by being miserable the whole time. But it definitely was a crash course in being a grown-up, because we were kids, literally. We were 18 and 19 when we got married, and we were 8 months pregnant. So you could call it a shotgun wedding. I usually do. But, what really happened was expectations versus reality. My first wife's parents had an ideal marriage. They were very happy together. They met late in life. They were in their mid-30s when my ex-wife and her sister were born. So it's one of those things, just like they had been around long enough to know what the real thing was, and that's what it was. But it had a very and not in a bad way, but a very dominant, submissive relationship. Her mother was very much in charge of the household, and her father very much let her. It was kind of like Ozzy and Sharon Osbourne. You know who's in charge, and you know that the husband is fine with that, which is all well and good. And it was a perfect marriage for them, but when my ex-wife, she wanted that marriage for us. She wanted that ideal marriage. But rather than taking the personalities that her and I already had and trying to make them into something ideal, she did admit this to me, that she kind of tried to force us into that, the two square pegs into one round hole of a relationship. And, it did become a lot of push and pull, and mistakes were made, and fights increased in severity, and eventually it just fizzled. But it was a learning experience, as all relationships should be. You don't want to walk away just saying, well, that was 3 months, 5 years, or whatever, that I'll never get back. Um, you want to have a learning experience. And I'd like to think that it prepared me for, my current marriage, which is obviously number 3 on this list. Um, and there were some aspects that I took with. It's kind of like, bad things happened, so I immediately assumed that same bad things would happen. I was treated a certain way, so I immediately assumed that I would be treated same. Not the other person's fault, just the mentality that I came with. Um, so, but, I would say we're happy. Like I said, 11 years, 13 together. Actually, this weekend, Memorial Day weekend is coming up, and that's when we met, was 13 years ago. So, pretty exciting. But yeah, it was definitely for us. I'm grateful because, it was the first thing that really taught me even the littlest bit of independence. I was very dependent on my parents and my first wife, and when I tried to not be dependent, it didn't jive with what we were trying to grow. But now, I have my own interests. She has hers, and sometimes they meet, sometimes they don't. Like the laughter yoga thing, that is a strictly me thing. I know she's actually used it in her practice, but mostly it's mine. We have overlapping friends, but we also have friends that will be like, I'm going out for a drink with this person, and you're gonna stay home, and you can stay home with the kids or something, and it works both ways. She goes out with her friends, I go out with mine. We do. I mean, we do date. We actually just spent a whole night in Milwaukee, seeing a comedian and having dinner and just having a wonderful time in the downtown area. So, but there's so much that can still change and still get better and possibly get worse. But it's been 11 years. But at the same time, it's only been 11 years. I'm not even 40. And I could make it to my 70s or 80s. I mean, if I'm just going to go after 11 years and say, well, we've figured out everything, well, then it's going to be another boring 40 years. I don't want boring 40 years. I want, a constantly ebbing and flowing thing. So I'm very excited to see where the next 40 years takes us. But those are the 3 things. And the light goes off on my computer again. Those are the 3 things I'm grateful for. And 3 marriages I'm grateful for. So, I hope that if there's someone in your life, you let them know how important they are. Be it a significant other, be it a family member, be it a friend. Don't forget to tell them how much you care, because you never know. You never know. I mean, like I said, it should be 40 years today, and instead it's not. So, I hope you let the people that you love know that you are grateful for them, for all that they do, and for who they are. So, I don't know if I'll be back next week. Next week is a biggie because it's my laughter yoga certification is coming up like the next day. So I might be a little freaked out to do this, but I will definitely be back in 2 weeks for sure. Until then, namaste and blessed be, and have a great day. Have a grateful day.